First, we've got Poppy Drayton. Butler. Executive producer Al Goff. Executive producer Miles Miller. And the one and only Terry Brooks. And John Reese Davies. Sorry about that, John. Got all caught up. Everyone got me all riled up with the Austin madness. All right, guys, welcome to Comic-Con. Everyone, give them a round of applause. All right. So, this first question is for Terry. I can only imagine that Hollywood has been waiting for years to get their hands on this. What took so long to get Shannara to the screen?
Yeah. Good question. If you find the answer, let me know. I don't know. I guess I have been fairly picky about the people I work with. And this combination of writers and the studio and Sonar Entertainment and all the other parts of the component pieces of the organization that brought this together just seemed like a really good fit. And the other thing is that for many, many years it was looked at as a potential movie, but you know, these things are too broad and sweeping for that sort of thing. So a TV series seems very much the right choice.
So how long ago did this process start for this version?
Oh, I don't know. I've kind of lost track. You know, I don't remember stuff well anymore. A couple of years, I think we've been at it seriously, developing it and working on the scripts and scouting locations, doing all the other things that you need to do, getting casting together. It's kind of a slow process. I wrote 3 books in the interim.
And how did Alan Miles get involved in this?
We actually, it was about 2.5 years ago, we had a meeting at Sonar Entertainment, and they had this book. And we were familiar with Terry because we had actually flirted with another book he had called Magic Kingdom for Sale. So we were familiar with Terry, and then heard of Shannara, but weren't really as familiar with it. We were both going on various spring break vacations with our families, and we read Elfstones over it and thought, this is an amazing story. I mean, Terry's obviously an amazing writer, as you guys all know. And, you know, it's basically, we said to him, first off, I don't know how this ever could have been a movie. It's just it's too broad and too expansive, and it's such a great story. You know, and, you know, for us in terms of, you know, when you read fantasy, a lot of times it might be like an 800-page book and maybe 200 pages worth of story. And I think with Terry, it was sort of like from page 1, the story just kicks in, and it has an amazing, you know, you're just on this amazing ride. I mean, I sort of, you know, I know Shannara's fantasy and it's obviously set in our future, but I always think, you know, Terry's world that he's created is more akin to Star Wars, you know, and that it has that sort of adventure, you know, which was a fantasy in space.
You know, George Lucas told me that too.
Yeah. No, but and that's really, and so I think for us, you know, I think, you know, you were saying what took so long, I think actually the medium caught up with the book, because the other thing that, with Terry's work that you see when you read it is how many people have ripped you off over the ages. But I think for us it was the perfect way to tell this story, you know, to have this 10-episode series. And you know, we loved it and jumped on it immediately.
Thank goodness.
And now, Terry, you're also an executive producer on the show. How important is it for you to be actively involved in the realization of this?
Well, I think it's pretty important. I promised my readers over the years, faithfully, that I would not betray their trust in the integrity of the work by giving it away to somebody who's going to wreck it. And the only way you really know to do that is to be actively involved in the process. So, luckily, Al and Miles were very willing to work with me and knew from the get-go that I was going to stay pretty much in the background.
No, but it's crucial to have the author involved.
Yes. It is.
Like you needed, and you said, you know, when we first spoke on the phone, you know, you said, look, I write the books, TV's different, I know things are going to change, I know things evolve, and it's been a great collaboration, but I think with these things you have to have the author involved. I think when these things don't have the author involved, that's when they just go to hell.
Yeah, the author has to appreciate the adaptative process.
Yeah.
And we were very lucky to be able to work that way right from the beginning. I think we knew there was going to be a good collaboration.
Yeah. Did any of you guys have a concern about it being MTV? That they would want you to be like, oh, we want the theme song to be by like.
MTV have been incredible partners on this, and I think for us and for them, they saw this as a huge opportunity to bring something that is so beloved, but also bring it and have a contemporary fantasy show that has never been seen on television. That was groundbreaking, and I think when you just get a glimpse of what we've done and achieved in terms of the visuals, that this is like a show that no one's ever seen before. And I think they really understood that from inception. And it's been an amazing experience for us.
Yeah.
They had the vision to do it.
You know, Suzanne Daniels, who runs MTV, actually bought Smallville from us all those years ago and sort of entrusted us with that. And that was a much bigger risk than this was.
And but for you guys, you have a little bit of history in adapting beloved stories for the screen. How different is it taking something that is, I mean, global? I mean, Superman is clearly iconic as well. But this is, you know, you have readers that know, you know, what they think of these characters in their heads.
No, you know, it's always, you know, when you take on something like this, whether it's Superman, whether it's Shannara, you know, you always know that people have read these books and have an image in their head, and you try to remain as faithful as you can to the spirit of the book and also the story and the characters, knowing that things will be adapted and changed.
Also, it's very important that it's its own thing.
Yeah.
And Ms. Terry was always very good with us about that, giving us the latitude and freedom to do that.
I think the other thing is that when you see this, you're going to be amazed at how well these actors and the ones that aren't here have made those characters their own. And I never went into this with a specific idea of who the characters should be, or even that much about what they should look like. And I think that gives you the freedom to do that. And really, we've had good success with that.
Well, I wanted to follow up on that question with about the cast, because I mean, you've got this incredible cast. And how did you guys go about putting this together?
Well, the casting obviously for any TV show is the key element, and it takes a lot of time. And we had time to do it, and I think you find the magic alchemy of a TV show with the casting. And I think for us, even on the first day, when people started saying these words, and you see them in their costumes, you see them in the environments of the world beforehand, it's just magic. It happens rarely, but it happened for us on Smallville, and it's happened for us again on this show. I think the way that we need to let it S to begin all our shows, because it has a it's true. It's like it's a magic you can't equate. It just happens. And again, it's about time. We really had the time to find people who will be right.
And as you can see, we literally looked around the world.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah.
And really ugly people. That was our aim.
So now I want you to look around you at this cast that you have, and one of the producers, tell me exactly what the actor brings to their character.
Yeah, I know, here it goes. Okay. Well, I think what makes it interesting to me is that each of them brought something unexpected to their role for me as the writer. I was looking for them to become that character, and in each case they did. I find that Manu, when he's playing Al-Anon, he's not 7 feet tall, but he has an incredible screen presence, and when you see him there, you cannot take your eyes off of him. At least I didn't, especially. And I looked for Eritrea as kind of the outcast of the group, and she's sorry about that, Eritrea. And so she has to bring a tough quality to her role, and she's very good at that. And I wrote in her book just a minute ago that she smolders on the screen, and I think she does. She really looks like she could get what she wants any way she could find a way to do it. She's good that way. The thing I like best about Austin is that he's actually quite funny in a number of scenes, as well as being strong. He gives a strong presence, and that's important too. And of course, Poppy has to project both vulnerability and strength to her role, because she's in a position where she's having to do something she doesn't want to do, and she's frightened about what the consequences are going to be, but at the same time, she has to be tough enough to find a way to do what's required of her, and she's very, very good at that. So that's what I see.
Thank you, Evan.
And we love Johnny's babies from all
I'm sorry, I thought we were only talking about the young people here. You notice they put the old guys at this end of the table. No, I was talking with John. I just met John a few minutes ago, and he plays Eventide in the story. And that role requires a certain English majesty that he's always been able to capture in his roles, and he did so here. And I really thought that he projected that Shakespearean character that essentially is what Eventide is in the story. So there wasn't anybody in this cast that I felt was wrong. I mean, I think that must be fairly astonishing. But not once did I feel like there was a misstep with the choices.
May I just say that I would agree with you completely. But the point is, the casting of this, I think, is really brilliant. Very intelligently, the producers have gone for youth and beauty, but they've also managed to find youth and beauty that has real talent and really good acting as well. I was overwhelmed by this. When I saw the trailer just now, I thought, that's magnificent. You know, after you've done an awful lot of old shows, quite big ones like Shogun, or Lord of the Rings, or Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Bad date. Indeed.
You get the smell of the great ones, you know, and you can never absolutely put your hand on your heart and say, there's no question about it, this is going to be the greatest show of all time. But I've always had, right from the beginning, and right from that first meeting we had, I said, you know what? There's something about this one that I think is going to make it into an astonishingly important and wonderful series. And I am even more convinced about it now. You know, when you do a big project, you refer back to all the things that you've done and seen before. And when you're in a project for 5, 6 months, or something like that, you think, well, I wouldn't really have done it that way. That's a bit weak there. That could be. I look at this show, and it seems to me that everything about it is right. I cannot second guess anything that I saw in this show. From the production end, from the design end, from the direction, from the really sound governance of good producing. The whole thing, if this show doesn't succeed, I don't know what will. It is magnificent, it has a huge audience, it is founded on very, very fine writing in the original and in the TV recension of it. I think this is going to be a big show, and I'm awfully pleased to have been a part of it.
So now let's hear from Austin, Ivana, Poppy. I want to hear, what did you guys think of your characters when you first read them?
Wow.
Yes, Austin.
No pressure.
Well, I saw myself so much in Will, and I think that that's what really resonated with me. And from our first meeting, just talking about where the show would go, and just feeling like a fish out of water oftentimes in my actual life. That's Will. I mean, in the beginning, he doesn't.
You're really hot fish out of water.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's what I feel.
I think one of the things that about your character and the way you play it is so magical. You can see there is so much room for this character to grow. And of all the young parts that I've seen played, this has a lyrical beauty, and you have the sense that it will go, this young man is going to do and become the most extraordinary person. I love it. I just loved watching it.
And that's what we loved about when Austin came in, and we actually saw the character come to life, and he was unexpected because it's a role he hadn't done before in terms of the action-adventure element and sort of the romantic hero lead. But also he brings a real sweetness and vulnerability to the role. I remember we were sitting together in my Prius on the speakerphone, explaining to Austin why he should come to New Zealand for 6 months and do the show, and how it would be great. And it was just, I think it really explains to you what this was about, which is about a guy who's searching for a role in life, which feels very relatable in terms of most people are searching for a role in life. How do I fit in? What's my future? And I think that's what you really bring to this, sort of, and the audience sees the world through your eyes, this incredible world of the four lands. So I think this for us was like getting you into that role was pivotal to why the show works. So that's great.
And ladies?
Well, the first thing that I thought about Eritrea is, what a badass. How am I going to pull this off? But we had a lot of training. It was great. We went there about 3 weeks to a month before shooting, and we had weapon training. We had horseback riding lessons. It was such an amazing prep. And I mean Eritrea particularly, she's such a cool character because you get to have all of the action elements with her. I'm a dagger fighter, but then you also have obviously all of the acting elements, and she goes through this entire journey where she really does change, and she goes from being selfish to being selfless. And I'm not going to spoil anything, but it was such a fun character to play, and perhaps it's one of the most fun characters I've ever played because of its richness in the journey.
For me, the reason I was attracted to the role was, as Terry Brooks has already sort of mentioned, was the fact that Amberly has this wonderful vulnerability, but she also has this strength, and I think everyone can identify with that, because I certainly did when I read the role, was that everyone has their little journeys that they're going on, and everyone's trying to be really brave and put on a brave face. Everyone has that like terrified, well, I hope it's not just me. Everyone has like this terrified child inside them who they're sort of gradually like growing up. And so it's really beautiful to see her journey and to see her go from being a child to becoming a woman and finding that strength.
It's a journey and always separate. It's a journey.
And so, Mando, you and Jonathan, you've spent some time in Middle Earth. How does this fantasy realm differ?
You know, I think one of the most valuable things about this show is actually the New Zealand practitioners that are in the background of the show, building it. You know, I've worked with these people in New Zealand going back to Xena days. And if you can imagine that these particular practitioners, these particular dressmakers, costume department, lighting department, set design, they were all doing this Xena stuff, and then Hercules, and then they went on to do Lion Witch and the Wardrobe, and they went on to do, you know, the trilogies of Lord of the Rings and then The Hobbit. I mean, the skill level of the people in New Zealand to make fantasy look real is extraordinarily high. You won't find it better anywhere in the world. You can go shoot in Vancouver, and they've got wonderful sets up there as well, but the actual genre itself has been pinpointed and really focused on in New Zealand. So you know, for all of those people that have now had to leave Peter Jackson's 6 movies behind, here comes Shannara, and it's the same people who are making this incredible visual, but you know, they brought it to, you know, Terry's incredible writing. So it's really valuable in that regard. The character of Alanon, I went to dinner with Austin 2 nights after we met in New Zealand, and we talked about our personal lives. I lost my mother when I was young. It kind of made the emotions that I am as an actor. You know, I put my heart and soul into this art because it saved me in a lot of ways. You know, what I had, I use, and I'm so glad that I can now look through a box and, you know, look at your eyes and see that you see what I do because of an emotional capacity. I don't mean to be too personal about this, but I know Austin, you know, lost his mother as well, and it wasn't that long ago. And one of the very important parts about his role in this series is that journey away from a mother who's passed, and then finding himself as a man. And I swear to you, this guy's got so much talent. I mean, he looks like Brad Pitt. He's got a heart of gold, and I know he does everything he can to bring that out on the screen. And you can't ask any more than that of an actor. There's a lot of ego in this industry. There's a lot of people just looking to get that box. But there's some people who are trying to do it from their heart, and this guy's going to bring all of that value to our show. So me now becoming the older guy, and then in the series, you know, it's great to be able to. You know, also alongside Andy Whitfield in Spartacus, I was alongside Stephen and Molinaro with some of these guys that are great presence guys, and this guy's got it in spades. He's got it. It's pretty great.
But wait, before you go, click the video to your right to see the Vampire Diaries panel at Comic-Con, or click to the left for everything about the Shannara Chronicles panel Part 2, and then click that subscribe button so you don't miss a single video.